And just touching on the regulatory framework, when you look at the regulatory framework for plumbing nationally, in Victoria, the Building Act 1993, which we all should know by now, the Building Act 1993 calls up the Plumbing Regulations 2008 and the National Construction Code PCA. The Plumbing Code is adopted by and forms part of the Plumbing Regulations 2008. Administrative matters such as licensing and approvals are retained in the Building Act and the Plumbing Regulations 2008 and are not part of the National Construction Code. Technical reference documents such as Australian standards relating to plumbing are generally called up directly within the PCA and or the Plumbing Regulations 2008. Using the PCA has 7 sections. Section A, General Provisions, tells you how to use the PCA. It includes the operating structure, definitions, a schedule of reference documents and a list of building classifications. This is the first time building classifications have been included directly in the PCA. Sections B to F are the technical how-to sections, where you will find the performance requirements. It covers water supply, water services, sanitary plumbing and drainage, stormwater, heating, ventilation and air conditioning, and on-site wastewater treatment or management. Section G sets out the rules for the certification and authorisation of plumbing products and materials under the Watermark Certification Scheme. In addition to the 7 sections, at the end of the PCA there are a set of appendices which detail all state and territory variations. The Victorian Appendix lists the part of the PCA that have not been varied by Victoria, that have been varied by Victoria. It's important that this section is read in conjunction with other sections to determine the Victorian requirements. In Victoria, the 2014 version of the PCA was adopted on the 1st of May 2014. Now the PCA adoption, the Plumbing Regulations 2008 specifies the PCA forms part of the reg requirements, except where it's modified by the regulations. Regulation 8 specifies the provisions of the PCA which are not adopted by Victoria. These are listed on the slide. For more information, you need to refer to the Plumbing Regulations. As an example, legislation not adopted, such as Part F1, covering on-site wastewater treatment in Victoria, is covered by the Environment Protection Act 1970 and not by the PCA. Regulation 9 of the Plumbing Regulations 2008 specifies how the PCA is modified. The important point to remember is that the Victorian Plumbing Regulatory settings are contained in the Building Act, the Plumbing Regulations, the PCA and various reference standards. Now the PCA operating structure, the previous couple of slides were about document structure of the PCA. This diagram shows you how the operating structure forms and works. Basically, there are 2 levels to the structure. The top level provides guidance and contains the overarching objectives of the sections and the functional statements, which describe how a section or how a solution achieves these objectives. The lower levels are the compliance levels. They contain the mandatory performance requirements and the means of complying with these performance requirements. Compliance can be achieved by using either a deemed to satisfied provision, otherwise referred to as DTS, or through an alternative solution. At the base of the triangle are the assessment methods. These are the methods that can be used to show that an alternative solution meets the performance requirements of the PCA. Now, performance requirements. So to give you an example of how a performance requirement might work, I've abbreviated the requirements of Part C, sanitary plumbing systems of the PCA. Under CP 1.1b, a sanitary plumbing system must be designed, constructed and installed in such a manner so as to avoid the likelihood of loss of amenity due to blockage and leakage. Now you can see from the slide that blockage is italicised. This means that it is a term that is defined within the PCA. The definition really just clarifies that a blockage is an obstruction within a drainage system. This is largely common sense, but it is also documented in the PCA and it's made mandatory through the performance requirements of the PCA. The definition of blockage, as well as those of losses and amenity, are set out in Part 8, 1.1. The deemed to satisfy provisions. So how do you comply with the sanitary plumbing system performance requirements? As you saw before, you use a deemed to satisfy solution or an alternative solution. Deemed to satisfy provisions, or DTS, are the most common. The DTS solutions in the PCA predominantly refer to Australian standards and other technical documents. To use the sample performance requirement from the previous slide, which related to the design of the sanitary system, the DTS provisions refer to AS 3500 Part 2, or the housing section of Section 4 of Part 5 of AS 3500. Some state and territories have varied how the PCA is complied with, and you should always check to see if there's a variation or addition to the DTS. Alternative solutions, as mentioned before, provide two means for achieving compliance through the PCA. The most common is the DTS method. The other means of compliance is through an alternative solution. Alternative solutions are included in the PCA to encourage new or innovative solutions that still meet the performance requirements. Alternative solutions are not the solutions contained in the deemed to satisfy provisions or reference standards. For alternative solutions to be considered by the VBA, they need to be assessed through one of the PCA assessment methods. These are documentary evidence as described in Part A 2.2, such as an engineer's report, a verification method, expert judgment, that is from someone with relevant or acceptable qualifications, or comparison of the deemed to satisfy, which is, as it sounds, evidence that a solution is at least equivalent to that contained in the DTS. It's worth noting that alternative solutions can only apply to the performance requirements for installations, not the requirement for materials and products to be certified or authorised. So a product has to be watermarked. There's no way around a non-watermarked product. Using an alternative solution in roof plumbing, as an example, is a siphonic roof drainage system. Siphonic roof drainage systems are not listed in the deemed to satisfy requirements of Australian Standards AS 3500 or HB 39, and as such cannot be certified under the deemed to satisfy provisions. They must be installed as an alternative solution with the manufacturer's engineered calculations and specifications. The slide shows the information required to be included in the installation detail section of a compliance certificate as taken from the PCA.